take care of the catheter site, mix my medication, and then lie in my recliner for the rest of the day. I couldn't eat without vomiting, and I stopped eating completely. My source of nourishment was strawberry kiwi Gatorade. By late March, I could not hold that down. I had lost 50 pounds, and my pH symptoms were intense. My primary care doctor was very concerned and wanted me to see a specialist as soon as possible. David came home from school at noon on Friday, April 12th, searched the phone book, called Maine Medical Center, and asked if anyone there treated primary pulmonary hypertension. He was told to call Chest Medicine Associates. Karen, the PH nurse, arranged for me to be admitted that day to a special care unit. And the following morning, I met Dr. Joel Worth. There were a number of issues going on, and this pit stop lasted 3 weeks. Rheumatoid arthritis and thyroid disease were also added to the health record. September 23rd, 2003 found me at Maine Medical Center for surgery to have my thyroid removed, another pit stop. I received the news that the thyroid was cancerous, but the surgeon was certain he got it all. At 7:30, April 1st, 2005, I became bald and had surgery, yet again, to have a shunt placed in my brain for a condition called pseudotumor cerebri. Not a very nice April Fool's Day. I had attended my first PHA International Conference in Miami in 2004. I was turbocharged during those first 3 days. I learned so much and met many other patients at conference. I wanted David to experience conference too. We have not missed a conference since 2006. At the Minneapolis conference, we heard Mr. Carl Hicks talk about fear, how fear prevents us from fighting, especially for a cure for PH. This had a profound impact on me, and I took his message to heart. I had been drafting off people who were really in the fight to find a cure. I needed to step up and become involved. We wanted to raise awareness and funds for pulmonary hypertension. I have a passion for golf, and so we decided, why not a golf tournament? In 2007, the first annual Maine Swinging for a Cure golf tournament and auction was held. From this event, the following happened. I was just made aware of this story last night. It clearly illustrates why we gather here today and why our race toward a cure is paramount. In 2007, I put out PH pamphlets at Sable Oaks Marriott, Portland, Maine, to raise awareness. At the time, I had no idea the deep impact this simple act would make. A man's niece who had been recently diagnosed with PH, confused and looking for answers, saw and picked up this pamphlet. Though his niece passed on, he continued to make a difference in the PH community. He set up a first giving account and started raising funds for PHA. So from a man who had little to no knowledge of PH or PHA, he is now a member of the PHA Board of Directors. This man's name is Tony. Thank you, Tony.
Wow.
The 8th annual golf tournament and auction, PH Forum, will be held at Falmouth Country Club, Falmouth, Maine, on October 4th, 2014. In September 2006, I transitioned to IV Remodulin. My current therapy, PH therapy, is IV Remodulin, Revatio, and Nifedipine. In July 2007, David and I took a trip we never thought we'd ever be able to make. Our sons, Brian and Ian, had returned to visit the country of their birth. We wanted to experience the Korean culture and see the boys' homeland as a family. It took some careful planning on our parts, but we did it.
Yay.
My book was published in June 2010. Dr. Wise, right after I became his patient, encouraged me to journal. He thought this would be a good way for me to express my hidden, unsaid thoughts. After finding PHA, support groups, and becoming more involved with other patients, I started putting the journal writings into book form. Many encouraged me to put it in print. It was not easy, to write all the ups and downs and the very lowest points along the way, but I tried to be honest about the challenges and how I got through them. The ultimate goal for this book is to give others with PH hope. I received a phone call from Merle Reisman in April 2012 telling me that I had been chosen as PHA's Outstanding PH Citizen. Are you serious? I asked. I didn't realize how I would react when I stood on the stage and received the award. I could not stop the tears as I looked out over the banquet room, which was filled with over 1,500 people. Flashbacks of the past 36 years all flooded in around me. I have always carried hope that a cure would be found, and I truly believe that a cure will be found. In 1976, I never dared to imagine seeing so many people all in one place, coming together, talking, sharing research papers, and collaborating about PH. It truly was overwhelming for me. To make the conference even more special, my youngest son, husband, 2 best friends, and Dr. Worth were all in attendance at the awards presentation. In September 2012, I started to have leg pain in my upper right thigh. X-rays didn't show anything. By January 1st, I was using a cane, then crutches. On April 8th, another mandatory pit stop was handed out. My rheumatologist told me I had a hairline fracture in my right femur. I found myself in surgery on the 10th, having a rod placed in the femur. The surgeon told me that it was most likely caused from the drug Fosamax. Only 4% of patients who use Fosamax get this condition. I did fine through the surgery. I returned home on April 15th. The recovery at home took several weeks, but I was able to stay in the race. I never thought I would ever be able to say this: I am a Grammy.
Yay!
How awesome is that? David and I traveled again to South Korea in June 2013 to visit our new grandson, Kai. Oh, what a special trip that was. Holding my new little grandson was just one of the most precious, special moments of my life. There was no way I was going to miss his first Christmas, even if it meant another flight to South Korea. So on December 13th, Ian and I arrived in Incheon. I would spend 20 days. David flew over on December 21st, so this was a wonderful time, and the first time that we were together as a family. It was just a wonderful family first Christmas. We returned home on December 31st, and then I was back to Portland and a visit with a surgeon who had done the surgery on my right leg. 2 days before returning home, my left leg gave out on me. Same pain as before. I knew what lay ahead. On January 8th, I was back on pit row to have a rod placed in my left femur, hairline fracture. Again, I did fine during the surgery, but the recovery was very difficult. I returned home 5 days after the surgery. I was using oxygen 24/7, 6 liters, which is not what I am used to. On February 4th, I woke up, sat on the edge of my bed, still not doing well, bottomed out, tears streaming down my cheeks, and asked myself, am I going to be able to get through this? Yes, you are. I had to work very hard, start over again. I had to work so hard to get off the oxygen and get back up on my feet. It took me 2.5 months to re-enter the race. Right after I was up and moving again, at my routine ophthalmologist appointment, I learned that I needed to have cataract surgery.
Oh my goodness.
I had both eyes done, and I did very well. On June 2nd, I was able to swing my club and play 9 holes of golf.
Woo!
It felt so good to be back in the groove. Becoming a member of PHA has allowed me to connect with many people all over the world. I have been a support group leader in Maine since 2004. I have had the opportunity to speak at PHA's Congressional Luncheon on 2 occasions in support of the PH Research Act. David and I have been involved by serving on numerous conference panels. My son Ian is also chairing a session at this conference. Being a member of PHA is a good way to include your family members in your race with PH. I have had the honor of serving as co-chair of the patient family-led sessions for the 2012 and 2014 conferences. There is so much to learn. You will take away a much better understanding of PH, armed with updated information to take home and share with others. My attendance at conferences has given me a sense of empowerment over PH. But the most important thing gained from attending conference is you know you are not alone. Look around you and you see you're not alone. I have shared with you the many obstacles I have faced since my diagnosis to the present, which required me to really think about what I needed to do to stay positive and in the race. I would never say that my race was easy. It wasn't, and it isn't. But there is the other side. My life is not what I thought or expected it to be. For me to have experienced all I have experienced is amazing. The early days, months, and years were very difficult, and yet, at the same time, made me aware of what was truly important. The only way I can explain getting through them was that I know I had someone walking with me and watching over me. My faith has grown, and I know it has gotten me to this point in my life. There is a reason and purpose to everything that happens in our lives. Right after my diagnosis, I told my older brother about having primary pulmonary hypertension and ending the conversation with, "It is not going to take my life," or anything like that. I know I didn't believe that. The statement came from deep within. And the years keep moving along. When I turned 30, I thought that was a miracle. I will be turning 62 in August.
Yay.
I call this a precious gift. The one thing I feared most after diagnosis was that I would not be able to accomplish anything in the time span given me. What was I going to be able to do in maybe 2 years that would be beneficial to anyone? I did not want to look back over the time I had left and have to kick myself in the butt for not doing anything. I think this was a great motivator for me to set a goal of doing something, anything, each day. I learned to live with pulmonary hypertension, accepting and adjusting, but still trying to live a productive life, not knowing the outcome. I asked Dr. Wise if he would share some of his thoughts about my case so I could include them in my book. An excerpt of what he wrote follows. When I met Jeanette, she was 23 years old. She had what everyone agreed was terminal right heart failure, the result of severe primary pulmonary hypertension. She required hospitalization on a regular basis for removal of edema fluid, symptomatic treatment at best. For in spite of extensive research and consultation, there was no known treatment for the underlying condition. Between hospitalizations, she was essentially bedfast. I learned 2 important things from her. 1, it is very difficult to know with any confidence how long someone might live or whether a disease is too far advanced for cure. And 2, it is very nearly impossible to extinguish strong hope. In closing, thank you to PHA for all the work you do. Thank you to all the doctors, nurses, and other medical personnel. Your dedication, kindness, special care, and research efforts for finding new medication and working towards the ultimate goal of finding a cure is amazing. I especially want to acknowledge all the caregivers who work tirelessly trying to make patients' lives better. Thank you to all companies represented here associated with the mission of PHA. I want to applaud every single patient in attendance here at Conference in Indianapolis. You are not allowing the fear of having PH dictate to you how you are going to run your race. You choose to learn about PH and how it affects your life and the life of those around you and face it head on. Believe me when I say this, conference will empower you in your race. My early years of isolation, loneliness, no one really understands my disease, to hear, you look so good when you are feeling so poorly, is tough to deal with alone. You and I don't have to. There are so many who have the desire to help. I encourage each of you to reach out and find the support that will help you stay strong as you continue on your race toward a cure. I learned something a few years ago when Mr. Carl Hicks, whom I love, respect, and admire, when I heard him say, hope is a verb. We cannot let fear paralyze us or remove our hope on our individual race toward a cure. We won't see the checkered flag being waved to signal that the race is over until a cure is found. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful, empowering conference, and God bless you all.